You can't make this stuff up. I'm Tommy, and you are on the lifeboat. And this cat will not take no for an answer. I'm Tommy. Welcome, everybody. If you saw the thumbnail, first of all, thank you for everybody that is coming over that just was on rumors that that you can relate to. The show formerly known as Cults and Crips. Can you believe this cat? Squirrel Nut Zipper. Hey. Okay, that's good. That's fantastic. This is my life, folks. This is my life. Jane Aldrich, good to see you. Wes Lightburn, how are you? Hello, Barbara. Glad that you're here. Hey, G, glad you're here. Methal Smokes, good to have you. I don't know exactly how to say your name, but KM, good to see you. Glad that you're here. Susan Nelson, happy Thanksgiving. Been watching the show, but as replays, finally caught it live. Well, I'm glad that you are here. Tommy Bird, what's happening? You are, he is Tommy Bird, and also on the lifeboat. Hey, Cricket, good to see you. Hey there. Susie Hughes, okay, gotcha. Gotcha. Squirrel something, man. She is on one. She heard all of that stuff that that my girl said and got a little in her feelings about it. Just Joan, good to see you. Karen Pooley, yes, we are live again, folks. Doing a little bit more content during this time of year. It's fantastic that we can also do stuff over on the show formerly known as Cults and Crims that everybody will always call Cults and Crims anyway. But it's good that we can have, because the shows that we're doing over there tend to be stuff that we probably ought to be talking about this time of year anyway. Renee B, good to see you. It is a scary situation, but I'm glad the Ecuadorian Navy is there. Yeah, so I'm not as worried about it as some people are. It's kind of on the other side of the Kate Murphy. Oh no, I'm so sorry to hear this. I've missed you too. Can we get some prayers, please, for Kate Murphy? Please, can we get some ones? That's serious stuff, and it is no joke either, right? Chemo sicknesses, radiation sickness, chemo sickness is really, really a tough thing, and I know a little something about it. Audra in Denver, good to see you. Glad that you are here, and my thoughts and prayers are with you for real, Kate, and I'm going to add you to my list and pray for you daily. I hope that, and I trust that this is something you're going to beat, and you're going to come out on the other side a stronger and a better version of yourself, and free of cancer. God bless you. I mean that. This is kind of a scary situation, and if you're not familiar with what happened today on Truth Social, this is kind of the Trump version of Thursday before too. Good to see you. This is kind of the Trump version of Twitter, right? Truth Social. He tweeted that they should consider the airspace above Venezuela locked down, right? Kind of a no-fly zone kind of a thing, and he's encouraging airlines and other people to kind of respect that. A lot of people are getting a little freaked out about this, well, with good reason. You know, the military of the United States has been blowing boats out of the water, boats that have been sent out from Venezuela. Venezuela is, whether you want to believe it or not, it is a narco state. It is a country that survives solely because they send all kinds of drugs to the United States. I voted for Donald Trump. People that get really pissed off at me about that. I had one issue. I told the whole world from Jump Street in the election before that, and the election before that, my issue is all of my friends are dead because of what can come across the Mexican border unabated. And for those that go, yeah, you know what, it's this or it's that, what it comes down to is pretty simple. And what it is the reason that Bernie Sanders left the Democratic Party, right? He said, they lied to me. They absolutely could throw a switch and stop what was happening at the Mexican border. And Trump did, right? We went from the worst immigration problem and the worst drugs problem coming across the border that we had ever seen to it stopping. Now he's trying to take that to a new level, whether you like it or not. I don't know that I am intelligent enough, and I don't know that I've done enough research to weigh in on this. What I will tell you is this: if your number one cause of death in your country is coming from drug overdose, then you're under an attack. If 1 million people have died because of drugs, right? That's more than we've lost in wars, all of them. this epidemic of people dying in our country from drug overdose, something had to be done about it. And whether you like this or not, something is being done about this, and it's spreading. The people of Mexico are in revolt right now against their government because it's a narco state. Now, I'm not dumb enough. I used to be, but I'm not dumb enough to believe that we don't have the CIA on the ground there firing those people up, right? Doing everything they can to add a little bit of cash and a little bit of muscle to make this happen in Mexico. However, this is spreading, right? These are cartels that made billions of dollars. The reach of the cartels has screwed up the country that I live in, not the city or the peninsula that I live in, but the country itself has seen a very serious rise in war of among gangs. Until you moved there, I didn't know Venezuela was such a problem with drugs. I thank God for Ecuador saving us. You know what? Here's the thing. It is a problem. I still can't figure out why sometimes I come up as Sue Nelson and Susie Q's. But hi to all the lovely boat people. You know what? A lot of people have been saying that. I don't know exactly what happens with people's names either. But Susie Q, I'm glad to have you here. I hope that we don't shoot planes down. But if you shut down a narco state's ability to send drugs on the open sea, they're going to go a different route. And if that route means that they're now using planes to do this, then maybe that's what's going to happen. I don't want to see this become a thing. Just Jones says some military people are saying this is totally illegal. I guess we'll see where this goes. Here's the thing about that. I've heard this too. The other route is that we go, well, we're not going to do anything about this, and we're just going to let the illegal drug trade kill off Americans more than cancer. I'd rather have him break a couple of laws in terms of the military, and I don't happen to believe that he can't do this, right? The executive powers, if he declares war, he can do that. He will have to go to Congress to do it. I don't think he would get the same kinds of I don't think they'd get the same kind of pushback that we used to. There's nobody in America that hasn't lost somebody to this scourge of drug overdose, right? The number of people that have died because of these drugs has touched the lives of every single person there. And I'll be honest with you, if we're going to err, let's err on the side of the people of America not dying from drug overdose, and F the people who are out there as narco states. Venezuela used to be one of the most prosperous countries on earth. They have more oil reserves than anybody. They have the best beef on the planet. They used to be prosperous. Now they can't get toilet paper. And it's because of Nicolas Maduro. The man, if they kill Nicolas Maduro, I'm going to come on here and do oh no, because I don't care if that dude's dead. He's not a good human being. And the number of Americans who are dead because of what he has done. Kathy says, I'm retired military. I don't think it's illegal. And he has the finest lawyers. The young friends I have in Mexico have been more concerned about Palestine than their own country. I'm confused. Well, Renee B., they are storming government facilities. They're tearing down walls and storming government facilities because the narco state has gone on for so long in Mexico that the new generation coming up isn't happy about it. They're not happy that their country is basically just a flea market for dope, and that there are people who get murdered and get hung from overpasses and beheaded and all of these things. This is a situation that is destroying the planet. It's destroying the planet. And look, America, if there wasn't a supply, if there wasn't a demand, there wouldn't be a supply. America does more dope than any other country on planet Earth. And prosperous countries have so much money and so much to be, like we were talking about on the last program. There's the yardstick for whether or not you ought to be happy. And when you're not, drugs make that way easier. And people that make a ton of money want to snort cocaine because it's going to make them realize or make them feel that they're more successful than they are, right? That's one of those drugs you roll up $100 bills to snort. Cocaine really lost popularity for a long time in the United States. When heroin got super popular, Coke started to back down. And I used to do speedballs. And the Coke that we were buying wasn't even Coke. It was fake stuff that was being made in China. Now cocaine is making a real comeback. And the drug trade does this all the time. It always has, right? The 80s were all about cocaine and heroin was dead and no one was doing it. And then the 90s, it all became about heroin and cocaine was dead. You will notice that wherever we happen to be having all of our military or whatever drug is popular there, it's going to end up in the United States. When we were in Afghanistan, we had a heroin problem. During Iran-Contra, when we were down in South America, we were bringing up cocaine and the crack epidemics happened, right? Wherever our CIA happens to be, during Vietnam, we were over there in that Golden Triangle where there was a ton of heroin, and we had the first heroin epidemic in the United States' history. It's not a coincidence. One for the ladies. Good to see you. Yeah, the number one cause of death in America is drug overdose. So pardon me if I don't give a shit about Maduro, or I don't give a shit about the people running Mexico or any place else. My concern, more than anything else, and I don't blame the people that are smuggling drugs across the border, but the cartels that are making tens of billions of dollars and killing people and forcing people into this line of work, I don't care, man. Mouse says, good old homemade amphetamines. Yeah, old crystal meth, old biker dope, back when P2P, propanol, was still around. There was an awful lot of meth. Meth became a real thing in the United States when people started to make the newer version of it, the crystal meth, because it was very easy to go into drugstores and buy a buttload of things like Sudafed. And you got ephedrine, and you could remove the ephedrine from the pills, and you could take chemicals and make it worth more than gold. And I've told this story a lot, right? I've been out of the drug game in terms of a consumer for a long time. But when I lived in Nevada, when I first moved there, a kilo of meth, sorry, we currently have a race going on here. When I moved to Nevada, a kilo of meth was about $8,000. When I went to prison the last time, you could get a kilo of meth in Nevada for about $700. And that's because the market has been flooded, not just with homegrown stuff, but they started to bring it across the border so cheap that nobody could compete. And the different cooking methods got very, very simple. When meth first started getting manufactured, they did what was called red, white, and blue. And you needed red phosphorus, you needed blue iodine crystals, and you needed the white, which was the ephedrine. And you also heated this. It was called a hot cook. They did away with that when they started the cold cook method, which is a lot easier to do. You use anhydrous ammonia. You still need the ephedrine, but you use anhydrous ammonia and lithium. A lot less ingredients. You don't have to heat it, and it takes a lot less skill, so to speak, to actually manufacture that. And it became an epidemic. They even made it in very small batches where somebody would just steal a couple of boxes of ephedrine and put all of the ingredients in one bottle, shake it up. They called it shake and bake. And dangerous, dangerous stuff, man. Maduro is Chavez too. So sad. It really is. I did actual ephedra root in Australia. It tasted like sewage, but I was up for 6 days. Yeah, you know what? That doesn't surprise me. That is a very strong substance. And unfortunately, people really get into, you know what? It absolutely will change you forever. And I'm sorry to hear that, Kate. I really am. My son was heavy into drugs for a while. He got off them, but it changed him forever. It changed me forever, too. It's, you know what it reminds me of? I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Lord of the Rings, right? But if you watch that movie again and you think of The Ring as addiction, it's a fascinating thing to watch that movie and think of The Ring as addiction. Don't think about it as a ring of power or anything else, addiction. Watch what it does, right, to Schmeagol, right? And the desire, it's so much like that. And at the very end, you know, you're never the same, right? He says, yeah, we saved the Shire and you know, life is good, but not for me. He carried the ring too long. Well, you know, an addiction will change you. You're never going to be the same. Doesn't mean you can't be happy. There is absolutely happiness after addiction. And the longer that you're away from the addiction and the more that you work on the issues that made you an addict in the first place, the better a chance you have of being happy. But you're going to see a lot of people turn this into a very political issue. There are people who say, you know, those boats that got blown up, that's just not fair. Those boats littered the entire ocean with pills, right? Those boats literally were packed to the gills with pills that require 2 milligrams to kill you. They're blowing up enough dope to kill an entire state. Oh no! Guess what? I hope they die. And if you go, that's not Christian. There's a time to kill. And when you're under attack, you don't have to use a gun to attack somebody. If I get you alone and I go, you're going to eat this pill and that pill is going to kill you, or I say you're addicted to something and the only supply out there is deadly, that's an attack on our country. We've lost more people to drug overdoses than we have in every war we've had combined. Look that up if you think I'm BSing. This epidemic is an attack on our country. And I've been saying it since the day we started the lifeboat. I've been saying this is chemical warfare. Look at who gets killed. 18 to 50. The number one cause of death is drug overdose. If boots were to hit the ground in the United States, who would they put guns in the hands of? People 18 to 50. And it kills more men than anything else, man. Think of what it did to the poor fish, says the Big Chill. Yeah, they did everything they could to get that dope out of the ocean because they don't want the next guys to come in, pick it up, and send another boat out. But I did actually think of that, believe it or not. I really did. It's just kind of, hey, mom, good to see you. David Booley, glad you're here. Big Chill, I'm glad you're here. This is sad to me that we have to have a friggin' debate about whether or not Maduro should be taken out. This is somebody that destroyed his own country and is doing everything he can to kill Americans. And I don't want to see us attack Mexico. I don't want to see us go to war in Venezuela. But we're already at war. And if you don't see that, then you just haven't had my job for the last 4 years, right? But I don't have any friends left. My friend Jack is the only one that didn't overdose and die. Carolina, Canada, good to see you. Everybody else is dead. And the number of people I've buried from drug overdoses, it's insane. And for the longest time, we were write-offs. Screw them, they're junkies. They chose this life, whatever. Well, that's bullshit now, right? There's a reason they're not sending powder across the border. There's a reason they're selling pills, right, that look like Percocet 30s, because the government of the United States, the big pharma, and the BS that they gave us about the Porter Glick study that said less than 4% of people who do OxyContin will get addicted to it. There was no such study. It never happened. It never happened. But they quoted that, and they wrote those prescriptions out thousands and thousands a day. And I don't mean nationwide. I mean, there were doctors who were writing 1,000 prescriptions a day. A lot of them ended up in the federal system. But they got millions of people addicted to OxyContin and then went, can't do it anymore. Doctors, you're not allowed to write these prescriptions. What happens to those people? They go to the street and they try to get dope. They got to get those pills, and they buy all the legitimate supply that you can possibly get. People fake injuries, people stockpile pills, they rob trucks, they do whatever they can to fill that demand. And then the cartels went, we'll just start pressing fentanyl into pills, right? Or nitazines into pills, and we'll cut it with a little xylazine so that it lasts a little bit longer, like real fentanyl would, or like real OxyContin would. And then they flooded the streets with this. Everyone that's dying, they're dying eating OxyContin-like pills. A Percocet 30 is an OxyContin. The reason that they don't make 80s anymore is because the government said you can snort it, you can shoot it, and you can smoke it. You got to fix that. Well, they fixed it, except for the Percocet 30. So these M30 pills, these counterfeits that are all over the place, right? Pretty simple stuff. If you cut one in half and it's blue all the way through, it ain't real, right? Those things had a coating on the outside and they were white in the middle. Should be really simple, right? But the problem is when you flood the entire market, you get a whole new generation, because every 7 years, you got all these drug users that have never done drugs before. Now they're doing something that they think is a Percocet 30. I've told the story 1,000,000 times on this channel, but there was a girl, and it's one of the saddest stories that has come out of this epidemic, but she had just had her teeth out. And she said, you got to go back home. I got a toothache so bad, I'm dying. And they wrote me a prescription. I could go get a pain pill. And they said, what did they give you? She said, Percocet. They probably gave her a Percocet 5, right? Instant release, not a 30, which was supposed to be time released. And the guy went, I got a Percocet, gave it to her, and she was dead before they could get her to a hospital, right? 2 twin sons. I could do this for the rest of the day, talking about all of the people that weren't drug addicted losers, not people that had been in it their whole lives, junkies like me. I'm talking about people that first time they tried this stuff, it killed them, right? They experimented and it killed them. We're the last generation that could experiment with drugs. We're the last generation that recreationally could use drugs. None of this happens anymore. Now everything out there can kill you. And that's not an accident. That is an attack from China, from the cartels, from Venezuela. So if we start blowing a couple of those people up, oh no. If we decide to start nuking a couple of them, I'm fine with it. And if that pisses people off, I'm sorry. I don't know how many of your friends you've lost, but I've lost all of mine. And were they model citizens? No, they weren't. But they were souls. They were human beings And they were people that if they got sober, maybe they would have started a channel and tried to help other people get sober. Maybe they would have volunteered at rehabs to try to get other people sober. Or maybe they just would have kept committing crime. Who knows? But we'll never know. We'll never know because people like Maduro thought, who needs to drill for oil? Who needs to do this or do that? We'll just become a narco state, right? We'll just help get tons of this poison into the United States of America. Did you ever see the movie Idiocracy? Low birth rates and young people dying from drug overdoses is a real problem. We have the lowest birth rates that we've ever had in the US, right? This is also a worldwide phenomenon, and this may sound crazy to you, but we're in more danger of dying on this planet from not having enough people on it than we are from overpopulation, right? And there are people that are coming out and now admitting this, including Bill Gates, right? All of these people that have been pumping this BS forever. If you study economics, you have to have a certain number of kids per family in order to buy the goods and services that you produce in your own country. If you don't, your economy will fail. Now, we're lucky that we have a ton of people that come across the southern border and we can bring people in. There was a time in the United States where we had zero immigration. People don't believe this when I say it. We had a net zero because we didn't need anyone else to come in, so we shut it down. We used to bring people through Ellis Island as fast as you could get them because we needed people there. You balance your birth rates by bringing in other people. But there was a time where that was at zero. Now we're not having enough kids to keep this going, right? We're in real danger. And social media is one of the other problems, right? We have incels. We have kids who just rub one out in mom's basement and watch porn all day. And they look at women that don't exist. They look at women that are so augmented that becomes the ideal. And then they go meet real women in life and go, that's not a real woman. I need someone with a Brazilian butt lift who's 5'11", who has the biggest boobs you've ever seen. They need Jessica Rabbit, right? Jessica Rabbit doesn't exist. And it's creating a generation of people that don't date, a generation of people that don't have sex because they can just get everything they want from a video game, from AI, and from jerking off in the basement. I'm not trying to be harsh, but I've been on all day and I'm running out of time. But this is reality. This is the world that we live in. And we need to start making some very serious changes. The first of which is shut down the ability for cartels to flood the United States with poison. If it was just drugs, that sucks. But this isn't drugs. This is a chemical attack. If it was sarin gas, you'd all be going, nuke them. But it's fentanyl. And people that buy fentanyl kind of deserve it, don't they? Right? People that get addicted to that shit kind of deserve it, don't they? Well, maybe they do, right? Maybe they do. Not if they broke their hip in a car accident and a doctor gave them OxyContin for 7 months and then said, oh, we changed our mind on that. It's wicked addicting. It's not 4%. We're not ever going to let you have it again. If you can't understand what an opiate does in terms of addiction, it's not like wanting a beer. It's not like needing a bong hit or wanting to do another line. You're going to get sick. The kind of sick that most people equate to radiation sickness, chemotherapy sickness, where your entire body hurts, you vomit, you can't control your bowels. That's dope sick. And every 6 to 8 hours, you need to feed that habit or you're going to get sick. So we created an entire group, an entire generation of people who were addicted to drugs, right? And then shut it down. As a former immigrant, I'm challenging you on this, Tommy. Where do you live? Immigration is a human right. Just do it legally. I agree with you 100%. We don't disagree on this. But saying we're going to open our borders so that 100,000 people start marching from South America to the United States and women get raped along the way and kids get raped along the way, that's not doing it right. Right? Going through, I live in Ecuador. I left the United States of America in order to do this. I had to get all of my paperwork. I had to do all of this. I had to come to the Ecuadorian government and I had to file to get a visa, not a travel visa. I'm staying here visa, right? You fill out all of that paperwork. You go through the front door. You don't sneak in and say, I'm going to hide. So I think we're on the same page as that. I have nothing against immigration. I don't. I think it's a beautiful thing. But letting it absolutely go smoking across the border unabated or say to them, all you got to do is text us. You can't be a society that says you can come in and we'll give you food stamps the day you get here. You can get in and we'll let you, all of these things, or anchor babies, which has been part of what we do in the United States forever. So if somebody comes across the border 9 months pregnant and gives birth 2 minutes after they get there, they now have an ability to stay in this country. We're going to call them a dreamer. You're in America, not this country. I live in Ecuador. And I left the United States because I am unhappy with how the United States does what it does. I don't trust the government anymore. I don't want to see American kids dying from drug overdoses. But I just don't trust America anymore. I don't. I thought I knew everything there was to know about the Iran-Contra affair. I had read all the books about it. I had watched all of the videos. And then I started really researching, and I learned how to do research. And I started to do different stuff. And I found out that all of the money in the Iran-Contra affair that was being channeled through Adnan Khashoggi, who was the main arms dealer through all of that, all of that money was moved by who? Jeffrey Epstein. Did you hear his name during that? Yeah, I didn't either. And then I started to look into other stuff. Like, I was really hot to trot. I was super pissed off about what happened when we went into the Middle East. I thought we better go into Kuwait. But the reason I believed that is because I saw a 15-year-old girl go in front of Congress and weep and talking about how babies were pulled out of incubators and used as soccer balls. And I even tried to enlist. My criminal record wouldn't allow me, but I was ready to go die over that cause. You're kicking babies, using them as soccer balls, throwing them against walls. All right, I'm in. We all saw the stories. Made us all angry. It just didn't happen. It didn't happen. It's a lie. There was a firm in New York that was hired to put that story together so that America would be amiable to allowing that to go on. And they've been doing this to us forever. And once I stopped trusting you, I stopped trusting you. So I didn't feel like that was a place for me to live anymore. I love America. I love the people of America. I don't love the government. And I'm not going to live somewhere where I don't love my government. So I'm an expat, but I did it legal. I didn't sneak in the back door here. I didn't try to come in with a backpack full of dope, right? I showed up and said, here I am. This is who I am, and filled out all the paperwork and did all of it right. And I think that that's what is supposed to happen. Folks, I've done a lot of content today. I'm starting to feel it a little bit in my throat, and I have got to do a buttload of stuff tomorrow. I just saw a documentary from Birmingham today. It looked like Kensington or San Francisco, junkies everywhere. How about Canberra, Australia? Canberra, Australia is deregulated drugs. I just saw a documentary on it, and I can only tell you what the documentary said. I haven't been able to deep dive it. I know some people from Canberra. I have not spoken to them, but the documentary paints a pretty bleak picture, and it's just tough, right? We find ourselves in some really kind of ugly place. Kate Murphy, thoughts and prayers for your boyfriend. If he's doing it right, I promise you. If he's doing it right, you can emigrate. You can emigrate to any place if you do it right. And it is the right way to do it. I'm learning the language. I'm doing all of the things that are going to make me Ecuadorian. I love this place. I'm happy as hell here. I'm an American. I'm always going to be an American. It's the place of my birth. It's where my family lived. But I promise you, I'm never, I'm not going to badmouth the United States of America. I'll badmouth its government. There's a big difference between the two, right? I love the Purple Mountain Majesties and the amber waves of grain. I've skied everywhere in America you can ski. I worked as a public speaker. I went to all 50 states as a public speaker. Love America, but I'm not going to hand over my hard-earned taxes. I still have to pay taxes in America anyway, but I would much rather be someplace that I feel better about living, and that's where I'm at now. I feel very good about it. All right, I love all of you. I will be seeing you tomorrow at least twice. Between now and the next time I see you, put a little love in your heart. And you know what? Stop using the standards of the planet and saying things like, I'm not attractive by today's standards. Who the hell wrote those standards? I'm not intelligent by these standards. Who the hell wrote these standards? Stop using yardsticks that were programmed to you the same way that we believed that babies were being thrown out of incubators. This is Madison Avenue telling you what is attractive and what isn't. If you can separate yourself from that for half a year, it will change your life. If you didn't look at one airbrushed image of somebody of your gender, or you didn't look at a car commercial that said, if you buy this car, this hot chick comes with it, and so does happiness. If you can separate yourself from all of that for even a half a year, it will change your life. I promise you it will. You don't have to move to do that. But it takes a lot of discipline to say, I'm not plugging into this friggin' thing for 15 hours a day. It's killing me. It's a hard thing to do. It's a lot easier if you don't live in a very developed country. And I don't. I live in a developing country. But I got good internet. Tell your brother I'm eating hot sauce. I will do that, Mouse. You have my word. All right, people, check out Johnny Scoville tomorrow, too. I happen to know for a fact he's about to do a challenge that is probably going to really mess him up. He's not going to talk me into it, but I will be watching. So check that out for real over on Chase the Heat. And thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your support. I got 2 more people that sent some cash in on PayPal. It means the world to me. It's nice to be doing this kind of content, to be working through the holidays again. It's a beautiful thing. I love you guys. Between now and then, stay out of trouble. Put a smile on your face, all right? I'm Tommy. We'll see you on the next one. Great to see everybody I haven't seen in a while. God bless.